What if the thing you're doing to try to create financial security is actually the thing making sales harder? You've been thinking that the problem is reach. But what if people are actually seeing your content, but they're just not resonating with it and recognizing themselves in it? Maybe you've convinced yourself, I just need a little bit more visibility. I just need a little more time. I just need to get in front of the right people. But what if none of those are the real problem? What I see a lot of people do is that they think that staying broad ends up protecting revenue. They think that if they keep their options open, that then they can reach more people and make more money. But that's not quite the case. So recently I need my carpets cleaned. And so I started researching providers. There were several providers that had multiple services. They were offering carpet cleaning, grout cleaning, air duct cleaning, all the types of cleanings, window cleaning. And then there were certain companies and providers that were offering just carpet cleaning. Guess who I called? The carpet cleaning specialist, because I have a high standard of what I want my carpets to look like. And subconsciously in my mind, I equated that the people who specialized in carpet cleaning, by and large, had to be the best at what they did. So it wasn't that I called them because I assumed that they'd be cheaper. They actually were more expensive, but I was willing to pay for a more premium experience because they specialized in that specific service. And it wasn't about their fancy website. It wasn't honestly even about their social media ads. It was because I trusted them more than the people who were just like, we clean everything. Because subconsciously, I thought if they are spending all day on this one thing, they must be really good at it. They must have mastered this thing if that's what they're focusing on all day. And that's who I want to solve my problem. And the reality is your buyers are probably doing the exact same thing. What this looks like when it's not clear enough and specific enough is, I had a founder come up to me and tell me, help entrepreneurs grow their business. And so I asked, okay, great. Which entrepreneurs? Who do you work with? And they're like, oh, anybody who wants to grow. And I'm like, okay, great. What problem do you solve? And then suddenly I get 6 different answers. Well, we do sales, I do marketing, I do mindset, I do positioning. I do some of everything. It depends on the person's problem. One, if I wanted to help refer somebody to them, I couldn't be clear enough about what's the problem that they're helping somebody solve to immediately pull from my Rolodex in my brain who are people that could potentially use their services because it was too broad. And 2, the person who was hearing their message couldn't clearly identify do they solve the specific problem that I have? So while they think they are expanding their opportunities, they're actually making it impossible for the right buyer to recognize themselves. And if the right buyer can't recognize themselves in your messaging, and the problem you solve, it makes it a lot harder for sales to happen. The reality is most people think that staying broad protects revenue, but what it actually does is it slows down sales. Now, the interesting part is that most companies probably thought they were increasing opportunities by offering more services. More services equals more customers, right? And more revenue then as a result. But as the buyer, I had a different and opposite effect. The more things they offered, the harder it was for me to know that they were truly great at it. And I think a lot of founders are doing the same thing with their messaging, not because they're not good at what they do, but because they don't want to leave any money on the table. And they're afraid that if they get very specific and focused, that they're not going to make as much money. And they don't want to, I've heard people say like, well, I don't want to put myself in a box. I have a lot of skills. I can help people with a lot of different things. And I have a lot of experience. I want to help everybody. I get it. I can relate. But until you can attract a very specific someone, you can't help anyone. And the reality is the broader your message becomes, the harder it is for buyers to trust that you're the right fit. Because people make buying decisions when they trust that you can solve their very specific problem. And the faster that they can make that connection, the faster they can make a decision to buy. But when your message tries to speak to everyone, they have to work harder to figure out that you're the right fit for them. And when buyers have to work hard and do the work, most of them don't. They just keep on scrolling and keep on moving until somebody comes along clearly stating that they can offer a very clear solution to their specific problem. If you take nothing else away from this, what I want you to understand is the easier you make it for people to recognize themselves in your message, the easier it becomes for them to trust that you can help them. I get it. Staying broad feels safe, but sometimes playing it safe is just avoiding the discomfort of making a choice. So ask yourself, how can I be deeply resonant to the audience I feel most called to serve? How can I make my message so clear that the people I want to help see their specific pain point, their specific problem in the message I put out into the market. And if you find yourself struggling, click the link in the description to download my revenue and profit growth guide, where you'll get access to my true and truer framework that can help. See you in the next video.